Hi, welcome to the video Spring Boot Forgot Password example with me, Namhabing from CodeJava.net. Through this video, I will guide you how to implement a forgot password function for an existing Spring Boot application using the following strategy. First, a user sends request for password to reset, and then the application will send a reset password link to the user's email, and then the user clicks the link in the email to change password, and a random string token is used to secure the reset password link. Suppose that we have an existing Spring Boot application in which we already implemented the customer login function, and we will be adding the link forgot the password in the login page here to allow the customers to change to reset their password in case they uh, forget their password. And when customer click the forgot the password link here, the forgot password form appears like this, and the customer must enter his email to receive the reset password link. And after the application has sent an email containing the reset password link, this message appears, and this is the content of the email sent to the customer, and it contains a hyperlink change my password, and this hyperlink is secured with a random token, and the customer can click on this hyperlink to open the reset the password form here to change his password without the need to enter the old password. Just enter new password, and this is a message appears upon successful change password here. So that's the workflow of the forgot password function, which I will guide you how to implement in this video. So we will be working on a Java project based on this technologies, Spring Boot for web application, Spring Data JPA, and Hibernate for the data access layer, Spring Security for authentication, login, logout, Spring Mail for sending email to the customers, Thymeleaf as a template engine, HTML5 and Bootstrap for responsive user interface, and MySQL database. And I'm using these software programs, Java Development Kit, JDK, Spring Tools Suite IDE, SDS, MySQL Community Server, and MySQL Workbench. Let me show you an existing Spring Boot project in Spring Tools Suite IDE here, the Submit frontend application. And let me start this Spring Boot application to demo the customer login function, which already implemented. And in the Spring Boot application configuration file, you can see it is configured running on embedded Tomcat server listening on port 80, context path /shopme, and MySQL database shopme.db here. Okay, the application is up and running, and now I use Chrome to access localhost /shopme here. And you see, this is the user interface of the Shopme application, and a customer can click the login link here to login. And for example, I log in to using this email. Okay, I have been successful logged in here into the application. You see my user customer details and log out. So in case I forgot my password, I need to use the forward password function in the login page here. So in the next few minutes, I will show you how to implement the forgot password function. So here are the key tasks which we need to do to implement the forgot password function. First, we need to update the database table customers and the corresponding entity class, and then we need to update the repository and service layers. and update the login page and code the forgot password page and code the forgot password controller and code the email sending function and then code the reset password function. You see, this is MySQL Workbench and I connected to a local instance of MySQL community server, and this is a ShopMe database which is used by the application, and this is a customers table that stores the information about the customers of the application, and these are the columns. And to implement the forgot password function, we need to alter this table to add a new column to store a reset password token. So right click on the table and we add a new column here. Reset underscore password underscore token to store the random string to secure the reset password link, and varchar length 45. We will be create a random string with the length of 45 characters. Okay, and click apply. Apply. Finish. So we got the new column reset password token here. Let's select all rows from this table. And you can see the new column reset password token here, and all the values are null by default. And then in the project, we also need to update the corresponding entity class, which is customer here. This entity class maps to the customers table in the database, and we declare a new field to map with the new column here. Column name is reset underscore password underscore token. Type is string. Reset password token. And then we generate the getters and setters for that new field here. Generate, and it's better to stop the application because we are going to make a lot of changes to the code. Next, we need to update the customer repository interface here. Customer repository here to add code for implementing the forgot password function. In this customer repository interface, we need to declare a new method for getting a customer by a reset password token, because reset password token is a random string which is unique to each customer. So we declare method file by reset password token here, following the naming convention of Spring Data JPA, and parameter is token. Note that the method must start with file by and then the field name reset password token. Okay, and then we need to update the service layer, the customer services class, to implement the code related to forgot password function. Okay. Here we need to implement a new method to update the reset password token for an existing customer. public void update reset password with two parameters, token and email of the customer, because the customer needs to provide email to login. And here in the customer repository, we already have the method to fire customer by email here, as you can see, fire by email. So we can get a customer object based on email here. Customer report. In this customer services class, you can see we have a reference to the customer repository interface here. File by email. And we check if the returned customer object is not null. If customer is not null, then we can perform updating the reset password token. The token will be sent from the controller layer. So in this service layer, we just access the reset password token with value is the value of the argument here, and then we call customer report to update save the customer object. Else, if no customer object found with the given email, we throw an exception. Throw new customer not found exception, which the message is could not find any customer with email. And we need to create this exception class. And we need to declare a constructor from superclass that takes error message here. Okay. So this is a method that updates the reset password token of a given customer based on email here. And we need to declare to throw the exception. And the controller layer, we need to handle this exception. And of course, we need to have a method to get the customer by the random token change reset password token. And we just return delegate the code to the customer repository file by reset password token here. This method will be used by the controller to check if a customer belongs to the given email or not, to the given reset password token or not. And another method we need to implement is to update the password of a customer. Update password for a given customer object and with a new password. As you can see, the customer's passwords are encrypted in bcrypt, as you can see here. Yeah. And in the project, you can see it is configured to use bcrypt password encoder here in the Spring security configuration file here. So we need to encrypt the new password using bcrypt. So we create a new bcrypt password encoder here. Password encoder equal new password encoder. And we encode the password, encode the new password, encode new password. and then we update the password of the customer. Set password to the new encode password here. The name should be encoded password, and after updating the password, we need to set the reset password token to null. And finally, we call customer repository to update the customer object. Save customer here. Okay, so these are three new methods we need to add to the customer service class in the service layer. Get a customer by reset password token. Update reset password for customer based on the email, and then update the password of a given customer object, and we encrypt the password using bcrypt password encoder. Next, we need to update the login page to add a new hyperlink. Forgot the password. Yeah. So in the project, open the login page. In this project, I use the custom login page here. Login. Yeah. And we add a new hyperlink after the submit button here to allow the customer to use a forgot password function. So we have a hyperlink here. Forgot the password, and we use Thymeleaf to generate the URL for this hyperlink slash forgot underscore password. And we need to create a new Spring MVC controller class to handle all the requests related to the forgot password function. So create a new controller class here. Forgot password controller. Annotate this class using the controller annotation. And the first handler method we need to write is to handle the request forgot password here. Public string show forgot password form, and we need to use a model instead of model here, and we return the view name forgot underscore password underscore form. And because in this project I need to add an attribute to specify the page title. In a project you may not need to use this forgot password. Okay, and then we need to create an HTML file for this view forgot password form. So we can based on the code of the login form, login page here. So copy and paste and change the name to forgot underscore password underscore form. And we change the heading to forgot password. Later we will change the success message and error message here. And for now we need to change the form. The action of the form is forgot underscore password with the HTTP method is post here. We don't need the ID of the form. Okay, and in this forgot password form we need to have only one field, that is the email field, that allows the customer to enter the email to receive the reset password link. Okay, so we delete this email. The placeholder is enter the email. Enter the email. And you can see with HTML5 we can use the input type equal email and required attribute, so we don't have to write additional JavaScript code to validate the email. And we need to have the paragraph. We'll be sending a reset password link to the email here. A paragraph here inside a div section. Sorry, we have a new div section and a paragraph. We will be sending a reset password link to the email. And the caption of the button is send. Okay, and let's start this application to test the forgot password form. Okay, refresh the login page, and you can see the new hyperlink forgot the password appears in the bottom of the form here, and click here, and you see the forgot password form here. With the text, it will be sending a reset password link to the email, and enter the email and click the send button. Click send, and we got the validation error message. Enter something not an email, and you can see the error message. Please include a valid email here. That's the feature of HTML5. And let me enter email. Click send. And we need to implement the handler method in the controller to handle the submission of this forgot password form. So in the forgot password controller here, we need to create a new handler method to handle the submission of the password form. You can notice the same URL forgot password, but the HTTP method is post here, because in the forgot password form we use HTTP post here. Public change process forgot password form, and we need to have a reference to the HTTP submit request to get the values of the parameter. HTTP submit request import. Yeah. Okay, and in this method we return the same view name as the forgot password get method here, and here we get the email request get parameter, and the name of the email field is email, because in the forgot password form we have the name email here. And to generate a random string for the token, we can use the random string class, which is available in the package net.byteputty.utility here. This package is available in the dependency required by Spring Framework by body, and it provides method make here to generate a random string with a given length. Here we need to generate a random string with a length 45 characters, because in the database table customers we have specified the length of the reset password column is 45 characters. Here you see reset password token here, string token, and for testing purpose we just print out the value of email and as a random string token, which will be used to secure the reset password link. And each token is unique to each customer. Okay, save the changes and we are ready to test the forgot password form. Here I enter email and click send. Okay, and in the console view you can see it prints email. Yeah, exactly, and a random string token of 45 characters. Yeah, perfect, right? So when a customer enters the email and submit the forgot password form, we need the application we check if the email is valid or not, and then uh, update the customer with a random string token and send an email that contains the reset password link. So in this controller, we need to have a reference to an instance of the customer services class, customer services, customer service, and let Spring Framework to inject an instance of customer service class into this controller. So we use the annotation auto here, and here we call the method customer service update reset password token here. Sorry, the method name should be update the reset password token, because it updates the reset password token for a customer based on email here. And we need to check catch this statement, because in the update reset password token it will throw an exception, customer not found exception, if no customer found with a given email. And when this exception is thrown, we display a error message in the forgot password form. So we add a new attribute to the model. We need to have a reference to model here. Add attribute. Name is error, and message is a error message of the exception. So in the forgot password form here, we write some code to display the error message. We check if error is not no, then we display the error message here. Error. And then after updating the reset password token, we need to send email to the customer email and generate. Before that, we need to generate the reset password link based on the token. But later I will show you how to implement this code. Now just test the update reset password token. Okay, save the change. And now let Let me try to test with the customer with email name Java programmer here. As you can see in the database customers table now, the value of the reset password token is no here, as you can see. Now log in, forgot password, and I try to enter wrong email. For example, something wrong email, click send. You can see the error, could not find any customer with email here. And now we enter valid email, click send. Okay, it redirects me back to the forgot password form. And in the console view, you can see it prints update SQL statement update customer here. And let me refresh the customers table here for the customer email name Java programmer, and you can see the value for the column reset password token was updated here with a random string here. Perfect, right? Now we need to generate a reset password link which is included in the email that will be sent to the customer. Reset password link equal to the link must start with an absolute URL. So we need to, here in my project I have an utility class with a method get site URL here. This will return an absolute URL of the application because in the email we need to use absolute URL in the email. Utility get site URL for given request, and this is the code of the method, very simple. And we concatenate this with a relative URL reset underscore password with a parameter token equal to the value of the token variable, and print the reset password link here for testing purpose. Okay, save the change, and now let's test again to see the reset password link. Here I enter my email, send. Okay, and in the console view you can see it prints you can see it prints the reset password link here. You see localhost /shopme/reset password with the parameter named token and the value of the is a random string token here. So this reset password link will be included in the email sent to the customer. And to send email from a Spring application, we need to configure the application configuration file for Spring starter mail. Here, after the Spring section here, we declare the mail. And in this project, we use Gmail. So the host name of the outgoing server of Gmail is smtp.gmail.com, and password. I recommend you to generate a password using Google account. Note that this password can be your email password, or you can generate different passwords. and the port number of SMTP server is 587, and we need to specify the properties for mail SMTP and authentication true, and use secure connection start TLS enabled true, and then we specify the username is my Gmail codejava.net gmail.com, and we'll also need to declare an additional dependency for Spring Boot starter mail here. So copy this dependency declaration and change to Spring Boot starter mail here. Okay, save all the changes. And let me check the jar files for Spring Boot starter mail. Okay, you see there are some jar files, a couple of jar files for Spring Boot starter mail here. Now, let's write code for sending an email to the customer. Okay, forward password controller here. And in order to use Java Mail with Spring Boot, we need to have a reference to the Java Mail sender here. Java Mail sender. We need to use Java Mail sender here. Mail sender, and have Spring Framework inject an instance of Java Mail sender object implementation here. And after the application updates the reset password token, it will send an email to the customer. Send email with email of the customer and the reset password link to be included in the email content. Yeah, we need to create a my message equal to mail sender. Create my message object. If you are not familiar with Java mail sending using Spring Boot, you can learn in my YouTube channel. Search for Spring Boot email sending tutorial on my YouTube channel. We need to use my mail message because we are sending an HTML email, and we need to get my message helper here. Helper equal new my message helper wrapping an instance of the message. My message. Sorry, this should be my message, not my mail message. Mail sender. Get my message. Okay, and then we set the from arrest set from, which is email arrest of the sender. Set from is for example contact at shopme.com, and the sender name is shopme support, for example. It throws the declaration for the exception, and set the recipient arrest helper. Set to is recipient arrest, which is the email of the customer here, and the subject of the email. Subject, and let's see. This is the content of the email. Subject, here's the link to reset your password. Here's the link to reset your password. And content. Content is in HTML. So we use the HTML tag P to indicate a paragraph. Hello. Just write the content now, and then we add the HTML tag later. You have hello. You have requested to reset the password. You have requested to reset your password. Click the link below to change the password. Click the link below to change your password. And then the code for the hyperlink. The name of the hyperlink is change my password. Change my password, and the link is a reset password link, which is passed from this method here. href equal to we need to escape the double quote character. Okay, and this is a reset password link. Okay, and then the last statement. Ignore this email if you don't remember the password or you have not made the request. Ignore this email if you do remember the password or you have not made the request. That's it, and we insert the p tag for paragraph in HTML. And adding paragraph here. Okay, we can make the link in bold here. Okay, and then we set the email subject. So for the helper, set subject, and helper set text for the email content. And we need to specify the second parameter to choose to indicate that this email is in HTML format, and then we call the method of the mail sender. Mail sender send message. Quite simple, right? To send an email message. Okay, and we need to catch the exception here. For the email exception here. In case of exception, we return to the forgot password form with an error message. For example, the error message is error while sending email. Okay, now we test send email. We got an error here. Class not found exception. Java mail sender. Stop and then start the project again. Okay, we are ready to test. Log in. Forgot the password. Enter my email. Send. We got an error. Let's see what the error is. I think it involves in the TLS start TLS properties mail SMTP ought to start TLS enable. Sorry, my mistake. This property must be enabled only, not enabled. Okay. Now we can test again. Log in, forward the password and enter my email. Send. Okay. It seems no error at all. And now let me check my email. Gmail here. And you see I got a new mail here from Submit Support. And the subject of the email, here's the link to reset the password. Click to open the email and you can see the content of the email here. Hello, you have requested to reset the password. Click the link below to change the password. And as the customer, I can click the link in the email here. And you can see it shows the reset password form, but we have not implemented the reset password form yet, so we got the exception, we got the error. The page could not be found. So the sending email function is working perfectly, and we need to say something after send email here to tell the customer that an email has been sent. And this time the attribute is message, and the successful message is here. We have sent a reset password link to the email. Please check. We have sent an email, a reset password link to your email. Please check. And let me make the forward password form a little bit wider here. Okay, and also let me check the database. We select only from only email and reset password token, where ID equal to the customer ID 21 here. Okay, so you can see with this customer email, the reset password token here, a random string here. You can see it ends with YUK. And let's check the email. You see exactly is a random string token here ending with YUK here. Now let's test again to see the successful email sending message. Forward password, my email send. Sorry, we need to add the code, modify the code to display the successful message here. And if message is not known, and then we display the value of the message. And you can see that why I have requested to change password, I still can log in to the application if I do remember my password. Okay, forward the password. Okay, now you can see the successful message. We have sent a reset password link to the email. Please check here. And we get a new email here. You see. And this time I have a different random token string here. So the token here is to make sure that only the customer who receives who got the email can change the password. Okay, so far so good, right? And after the redirection, here we need to set the page title for the form. And now we need to code a handler method in this Spring MVC controller to handle the request when the customer clicks the change my password link in the email here. And in this URL, you can see reset password and a query string token here. So we create a new handler method in this controller class. Get mapping. The relative URL is reset underscore password public string. So reset password form. When the customer clicks the reset change my password link in the email here, and the application will show the reset password form like this, allowing the customer to enter new password and click the change password button to update password. Okay, and we need to declare parameter using param annotation here to map with the parameter token in the URL query string. String token. And we need to have a reference to a model. And if customer, the token is valid, we return to the logical view name reset password form. Sorry, this should be value. Okay, but first we need to check the token is valid or not. So we try to add a customer object, customer, using the customer service here. the get by reset password token method, which we implemented previously here. And this method we return a customer object based on the token, and because the token is unique to each customer, and we check if customer is no, then we show a message model attribute message invalid token, and return the view name message. Because in this project I have a view name, a view file message that displays the message to the user here, with heading 2 for the title and heading 4 for the message. So I add another attribute is title. Reset the password. Okay, and in case customer object is found, meaning that the token is valid, we return the logical view name to show the reset password form to the customer. And in this form, we need to set a token value of token as attribute token value is token here, and we'll also need to set the attribute page title here. Reset the password. And next, let's write code for the reset password form that looks like this. It has two fields, two password fields, new password and confirm new password, and change password button. So we can reuse the code of the forgot password form here. Copy and paste. Change the name to reset password form. Then change the page heading to reset the password. We need to change the action of the form is reset underscore password with the std method is post here. And in this form, we need to have only two password fields. So yeah, we use the input type equal password, name equal password, ID is password, and class Bootstrap CIS class form that's control. And this password field is required autofocus, and the placeholder is enter the new password, and the second password field to confirm password name is confirm password. We don't need ID, and the submit button caption is change password. Okay. Reset password form. Okay, let's test by clicking the change my password link in the email here. You can see the reset the password form appears here, and the customer can enter new password and confirm new password. If I change the token in the URL here, for example, and we got the message invalid token here, so it is to make sure that only the customer who got the email will be able to change the password. And let me make the confirm password require auto. Okay. Okay, so the required attribute is working, and let me add some little JavaScript to validate the two password match script function. Check password match, and input is a field confirm password. Yeah, I check if field confirm password value. If it is different than the value of the input password ID password here, not var here, and then we display the validation error message says custom validity. This will work with HTML5 and in modern browsers. Password do not match. Else, if the two password match, we reset the custom validity to an empty string here. Okay, and for the second password field here, just specify the event handler on input here, and we call this method check password match, and argument is this, which is the second password field. Okay, now let's test the reset password form. I click the link in the email here, and I enter two different passwords. You can see it says passwords do not match, so I must enter the same password. Okay, the form has been submitted, and in the next few minutes we will implement the handler method for HTTP post of this URL. Now let's write code to handle the submission of the reset password form to allow the customer to change the password. Post mapping for the URL reset underscore password. As you can see in the forgot reset password form, the action of the form here, reset underscore password with the HTTP method is post here. Public string process reset password, and we need to have a reference to HTTP service request so we can read the values of the parameters we want request model, and we need to read the token. As you can see in the form, here we need to have a hidden field to store the token. Yeah, input type equal hidden, name is token, and value is the value of the token attribute which we set here. You see token here. Token equal to request get parameter token, and we'll also get the password. And first we need to check to make sure that the token is valid or not. So we copy this code to get a customer based on a token here, and we check if customer is no, meaning that the token is invalid. We return to the message page with the message is invalid token. Yeah, same as showing the reset password form. Else, that means a customer was far with a given token, then we update the password. So we call customer service update password for given. Sorry, update password for given customer object we get from the database here, and the new password is the value from the form here. And this method we already implemented in the beginning of the video here. We encrypt the customer password using a bcrypt here, and then we set the password for the customer, and we also set the reset password token to no, because the customer has changed the password successfully. Okay, that's it. And we add a message is you have successfully changed your password, and return to the message page. In both case, error or success, we also both return the customer to the message page. Okay, that's it. Save the changes, and we are run the final test, changing the password actually. Okay, now let me click the change my password link in email here, and now I enter new password. Change password. We got an error here. I think we have something wrong in the reset password form. Yeah, sorry, I have not saved the change for the reset password form, so no value for the token saved. My mistake. Okay, now we test again. Click the link here and view the page host. And now you can see the value of the token here in the input hidden here. Okay, now I can change the password, and I think this time it will work. Change password. You see, you have successfully changed the password. And let me check the database. Refresh, and you can see for the customer with the email name Java programmer and the reset password token is set to null here, and Let me show you the password, and you can see the content of the password field before the change here. Now let me execute the select statement again, and you can see it is different, right? And now I try to log in with a new password. Okay, I'm successfully in to the application here. Perfect, right? And this is my customer details. So after I have changed my password, if somehow I click the change my password link in the email again, I will got an error because the token was set to no in the database. Perfect, right? So far you have learned how to implement the forgot password function for an existing Spring Boot application. I hope you have found this video helpful. Please subscribe, like, comment and share this video. Thanks for watching.